Welcome to Trevor Wall's Academy of Healing Arts. Today I've got a special guest, Angel Ann from Scotland, who is a extremely talented performance medium and mentor for developing mediums. Welcome, Ann.
Hi, Trevor. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again, too. So, Ann, I've got to ask you a question. There's a lot of people, as we were just talking earlier, that are waking up to becoming mediums or to this sort of path, and some is a catalyst and some is just a calling. Did you always know, or could you always see spirit, or was there a catalyst that got you down this path?
Well, there was a catalyst, although it's in the family. When I was 3 years old, my youngest sibling, Laura, passed to the spirit world at 3 months old, and I was 3 years old. But I also had a younger brother who was 18 months younger than me. So at night when I would go to bed, my gran used to come in and read me bedtime stories, and she had my sister with her, and she would tell both of us stories at night. And at that time I wasn't aware that it was actually spirit. So when I was 3, the catalyst was that my sister had gone to spirit, and it must have wakened something up in me, unknowingly probably is the right word for that.
Yeah. Wow, pretty cool. No, I also remember from talking with you in the past, you used to have a big corporate job where you were a manager and a quality assurance. How did you make a transition from leaving sort of that corporate world and the safety of the money of a corporate world to moving into a medium and creating a life that way?
Well, I was working in this large retail food industry, a baker's in Scotland, and I worked in product development. And I was still working part-time with my spiritual work. And in 2002, I was investigating paganism and witchcraft. And I was sitting in meditation, sending love up to the universe, when this angel came in during the meditation. And he told me that my life purpose was to heal people with words. And I didn't believe. I thought, I'm not giving up my pension, my car, private healthcare. No way. But yes, it happened. And I remember saying to the universe, well, if you want this to happen, I will be out of here in June 2004. That's what I put to the universe. If you want this to happen, then in June 2004, I will no longer be here.
And it happened?
It happened, not the way I would like it to happen, but it happened.
Sometimes we need to push out the door, don't we?
It happened. Yeah, happened with a bang.
So now you were well-developing medium, you had a career, and you were a mother. How did you make it work, and how did you figure time to develop?
How did I figure time to develop? How did that work? Well, it worked because I have a mother. I had a mother. She recently passed. So my mother looked after my children while I was at work during the day, but they were at school, and we also had childcare for part of that time. So basically, when I was working and had the children, I'd sit in meditation, read books the old way. I used to watch some videos as well from some of the old teachers. I used to read Edgar Cayce.
Oh, right.
The Sleeping Prophet.
Yep.
I read This is Spiritualism as well. So I read a lot of books and developed it over the years. Plus, because I knew I was different, right from I was in my 20s, I studied religions and spoke to high-powered people in the church, different churches, Jehovah's Witnesses, Church of Scotland, Catholic Church, born-again Christians, the Baptists, to ask them why I had this gift, why was I different? And their explanation wasn't very, very, very nice. It wasn't very Christian-like.
A few of us have experienced that.
Yeah. And I thought, oh, well, that's not very loving, and not very love and light, as we say.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what would you say would be one of your biggest challenges then in this pursuit of becoming a medium? My
biggest challenge for me is to be the best mouthpiece I can for the spirit world. I feel it's an ongoing thing. I don't think we should ever stop trying to continue to be in that power and continue to improve. And we can't anyway, because we change constantly as we evolve. we change, and how we perceive the spirit world and how we receive the information and the message from spirit changes as we evolve. So you've got to continue with your growth and sitting and understanding how you are and what you are.
That's brilliant. Yeah, we're never static, are we?
No, we don't. It's like the planet, when nothing stops, so we've got to continue growing. One of my biggest bugbearers, sorry to say, are the fast food mediums of today, who think they can go in and do 1 or 2 courses and then they jump out there and they don't always know what they're doing.
Yes, and they can do a lot of damage, especially if
yes,
thinking
we're
there's a
supposed
direct
to
channel.
Absolutely, we're supposed to be healers. That's what we are. We're healers for the physical. We're healers for the incarnate. And if you're not sure of what you're doing, then it can become very disappointing for the spirit world. And we have to remember we're working for the spirit world as well, incarnate and discarnate.
We are definitely of service. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. What's your most memorable moment if you can think of one that stands out above them all? What's your most memorable one as doing something in mediumship?
Well, one of the most memorable ones for me was, I remember doing this live performance with maybe 250, 300 people. I'll never forget it. It was maybe 15 years ago. And I'd gone to this lady. I was connected to her. I started giving her information. I said, oh, I have your father. And I said, you have your father in spirit. And I gave her some information about her father. And then I started giving the lady information. And I remember her name was Lorraine, okay? And in Scotland, we shorten Lorraine to Lane or Laney, okay? All right, so you need to understand Scottish. This is why I'm telling this part of the story. So in my mind, when I started giving this lady the information, I suddenly got a chill from the top of my head, my hair, but it's not standing on end already. It was standing on end during this show, right to my toe, a shiver right through me, so profound that I actually took a deep breath, and I had a man in spirit world give me a row. So he gave me a ticking off saying, leave my Laney, which is short for Lorraine, alone. But he says Alain, which is very Glaswegian. And I went, oh my God. So I really was shaken to the core. And I had to say, hold on, sorry, that was not your father. I was picking you up psychically. Because what he came in to tell me was, don't you dare say this is me when it is not. Wow. And at that point, for me, I realized, oh my God, the spirit world are actually real. Now, I knew they were real, but I knew they were actually listening to every word we were saying. And then it dawned on me the responsibility we actually have as mediums. Because it really shook me to the core. And I say to people, if you don't do your job right, and when you go to the spirit world and you have all these people you've said you represented, I had your mother, I had your father, I had your sister, and you did not, and you gave false evidence, how are you going to feel when you're standing with these people in the spirit world? I'll tell you, I've had two rows from the spirit world, and I will never forget them. They were worse than a row from my own father, and that was bad.
That's awesome advice, too.
Yeah.
Be truthful and just give what you get, right? Like, without
but don't say you have someone if you haven't. So it's about learning to understand when you have spirit and when you're working psychically. So I did a lot of work after that to make sure I was understanding the difference.
Oh, good. Would you mind explaining the difference real quick so people that are curious don't know what
absolutely. So being psychic means you're reading the incarnate spirit. You're reading the person who's on earth. And being mediumistic means you're connecting up to the discarnate, those who have left the physical body. So mediumship is talking to those who are no longer of the physical. And psychic is working with the physical body and reading the aura, because everything we do on earth is stored within the aura.
That makes total sense. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, and I've watched you in performances and you exude confidence like no other medium I've seen. Now, for me, like and other mediums, a lot of us have an insecurity about performance. How did you develop that confidence? And do you ever get stage fright? Like, because you perform in large audiences.
I think working in the corporate world and have to present to the board in many boards for years and working in product development, having to teach groups of people, that helps with your confidence. If you know what you're doing, you're confident. I'm a rising Leo, so being in front of people doesn't bother me. I'm Scottish, so we're forthright. But I have absolutely 100% confidence in the spirit world. So I know even if I get 3 no's from someone, that the spirit world will come in and give me the right thing to give the next time, so that we're getting the message across. So it's about, I feel part of my confidence comes from trusting that the spirit world are standing there right with me when I'm performing.
That's an awesome place to be. Okay.
Yeah.
And that takes time and practice, right? You can't just take a course and become a confident medium.
Well, absolutely. I've been doing platform work now, or shows, or performance mediumship for 20 years now. So it doesn't come overnight. And I've learned through that. I've learned the hard way, being knocked by spirit. Another gentleman in the spirit world gave me into trouble for wearing trousers because he thought women should always have skirts on. But he was born in the 20s and died. Well, I shouldn't say thankfully, but he died before the 21st century. But that also just, again, it just shows you the personality of the person coming forward. He's saying, how dare you represent me when you are wearing trousers? Ladies should be wearing skirts. And I thought, oh, I beg your pardon.
I love that, because spirit does have a sense of humor.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think he was having fun. He was serious.
On that line of sense of humor, what's the funniest thing that's ever happened in one of your performance shows?
Oh, the funniest thing, good grief. Well, there's lots of funny things happened over the years, but whether I can think of one right now, I think most of the time the funny ones come from those who come in, as I call them. In Scotland, we have a comedian who comes in as the Reverend I Am Jolly, which means he's anything but jolly. He's rather a dour man, and that's a Scottish word, which means he's miserable. And for me, bringing forward, when I work with the spirit, well, part of my job is to bring forward the personality of spirit. So I think when I'm doing that old grumpy man personality, then people find that quite amusing.
And you get into the character, don't you?
Yeah, I do try to get into the character, because for me that is part of the evidence of who I have.
Totally.
Working.
Yeah, and I would appreciate that in your workshops. You all get everybody back into feeling, and it always is very impactful for messages. So,
So that's the most important thing for me, is feeling the essence of the spirit and becoming that essence.
Yeah, and you're fantastic at it. So now, on that, how do you personally connect to spirit, and how do you know that you are connected?
Okay, so again, I still practice sitting in the power of spirit. I try to do it every day, but certainly if I don't do it every day, I do it most days. And so I just go in, lift my own spirit up into the spirit world. I don't go up there to communicate to guides, to no one. I just go up to connect to the world of spirit. So I know the energy of when I'm there. Okay, I just know. And for me, before I go on, I speak to spirit. I lift my energy. Sometimes I sing, sometimes I dance, sometimes I chant. Depends where I am and how much power I feel I have to build. Because the reason for me, if I'm having to go on and do a 2.5-hour show and stay in that power, you have to build up your own power. It's a bit like charging your phone battery. And the best way for me to build that power and that essence to connect to spirit is going up and staying in the power and charging your own battery by connecting, not to communicate, but just to go up there and build the staying power.
That makes so much sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's your most beneficial practice then? It almost sounded like that, but is there, if you had to pick one practice, it would be?
I would say sitting for the power of spirit. I mean, for just over 10 years, I used to sit for trance discipline. Yeah. And that really helped me. We used to sit once a week for an hour and a half, 2 hours. There would be people sitting in my circle. I'd be sitting for the trance development. And that really helped me get the essence and the personality of spirit. And I feel, that discipline, it's like anyone who wants to become a concert pianist, a great footballer, You know, you have to get to the top of your game by the practice. And for me, that's where the benefits came from. The trance, sitting in trance for those 10 years really helped me to get into the character and the essence of the person. So still sitting. I don't sit for trance now since my late husband passed, because it makes you very sensitive and sitting in that power. And I'm just not ready yet for him to come forward, I don't think, and feel the essence of him yet.
That makes sense.
Because it would be very emotional.
It would be hard, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be very hard, yeah.
Now, here's
Absolutely.
a question for you. Like, some people are still afraid of negative spirits. Do you believe there are negative spirits? And if you do, how would you protect yourself from them?
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't believe in negative spirits. And I can only go by what I have worked with in my life. As I say to people, I work in the power of love. So if I'm working with a mother who is on earth and she has a son in the spirit world who is a mass murderer, I am not working with a mass murderer. I'm not working with an evil person. I'm working with a son who loves his mother and the mother who loves her son. So for me, I am the essence of love and that communication of love. Now, I'm not saying there's people in the spirit world who haven't done bad things when they were on earth, okay? But I can honestly say the only time I have ever felt anything negative come from the spirit world was something completely different. I was sitting in a trance circle as a guest, and a gentleman brought forward to me which looked like an entity from outer space, and that wasn't very beneficial. It didn't feel like a benefactor at all. I didn't like that feeling. But I have never experienced anything negative coming in as a communication for me from the spirit world. I have brought forward people from spirit who want to speak to people on earth, and the people on earth do not want to speak to them because there may have been abuse, physical, mental, emotional, and they're not ready for that connection or that healing. But I can never say I have ever encountered anything negative.
I like that viewpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're different on earth than in spirit mode, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Now, out of all your messages, I want to ask you, what's your most impactful message? You don't have to share names or anything, but what's the one that you stood out as?
Well, I'm just going to give you one from yesterday. Actually, I was doing
perfect.
a reading for a lady, and she actually booked the reading 2 weeks previous.
Okay.
And I was doing her reading, and I suddenly, because I used to be in product development, I have a very sensitive palate to taste and a very sensitive nose to smell. Okay? And I smell death, like you can smell perfume and aftershave. Okay? So I was working with her, and I went, I'm really sorry. I said, have you just had a death in your family? She says, yeah. And I says, oh my God, I just got this scent, and your gran's come forward, and your gran is telling me she has her girl. She has her girl. She has Jean with her now. Your Auntie Jean has just stepped into my vibration, and the girl's face went whiter than mine's right now because it looks really white on your screen. It must be the lighting. And she says, oh my God, Anne, I get called in home from work at 12 noon today because her Auntie Jean was found dead at 11:30. The lady had been in spirit world literally hours.
That's
hours.
Incredible.
So for me, that was a wow moment. And what healing that brought for that girl to then phone her mum, who was devastated that her sister had just passed, to phone her and say, Mum, Auntie Jean's just arrived in spirit. She's with my gran. I've just had a reading that she booked 2 weeks previous. How wonderful is the spirit world? How wonderful did they orchestrate that whole thing? In my mind, they orchestrated that for that family to get the healing, knowing that that lady was ready to pass.
Amazing.
I think it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
It's incredible. Now, as a medium, because we do this for others, I also find, because we work with our guides, they tend to help us. Can you share like maybe an incident or two in your life where something awesome or miraculous happened, spirit guided you to something or saved you from something?
Well, there's been lots and lots. I've had lots of miracles over the years, and lots of information of when things are going to happen in my own family, predictive type things. But I think one of the most miraculous things for me ever to receive from spirit was very profound. I had a major operation back in 2003, and I'm allergic to morphine and codeine. And I was released from hospital, but in terrible, terrible pain. And I remember the night before going to bed, I prayed to the Spirit Realm and I says, you either have to take me home to Spirit or you have to heal me. I cannot continue. This pain is unbearable. And I remember my late husband getting up and going to work, and briefly him saying to me, do you want a cup of tea? And I was saying, no, just leave me. And I was trying to drift off. And I'm saying to the Spirit World, I'm saying, oh, please, God, please just help me. I can't take this. Please help me. And I remember waking up at one point and I could hear the celestial sound of angels singing. The sweetest smell I could ever imagine. I can't even describe it. It was a cross between jasmine and geranium oil, and the most beautiful scent. And it's exactly as you imagine it would be, that all this, this higher, I'm not a singer, all this beautiful music going on. And I woke up and my room was so bright, very, very bright. And I thought, oh my God, I was in awe of all of this. But then it just sort of seemed to stop. It dissipated, it disappeared. And I got up and I went to have my shower. I went into the kitchen, natural cook and baker being a Taurus. I went in and started preparing a meal for my husband and started cleaning the house. And he came in from work and he went, how are you, darling? I went, I'm fine. How was your day? Did you have a good day? I've got your favourite food prep for you. I had made mussels, and I'd make a banoffee pie and a spaghetti carbonara, all freshly made. He says, how's the pain? I says, what pain? From your operation. What? Your operation? I says, what operation? So that even the memory of the operation was gone. And I thought, oh my God. That's incredible. That was, for me, the most profound thing that's happened for me physically, to get such, it was a miracle basically. And what a healing. Amazing.
That's amazing. And I love it that you asked. And I think if we forget to ask our guides or angels for so much. They're there to help.
Oh, right? No, I never forget to ask.
You never do. Okay, I do.
I thought, I give all the time. Please help me. I need your help today. I can't take any more.
That's brilliant. All right. What's your next big goal as a medium? What do you want to do?
What's my next big goal as a medium?
Yeah.
My next big goal is just to continue doing the work that I love and bring healing and hope to people, to know that there is, we may feel we're in our darkest hour or our darkest day, when we feel our heart is breaking, and we may get to the depths of despair where we don't want to come back. I want to be that light, the voice of Spirit that brings the hope, that keeps them here to know that there's still work to be done and they will find happiness again. And because as a medium, as a mouthpiece for spirits, the spirit world only come to let those that they love know, I'm okay, and you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this, and you still have so much to do. So that is my goal, to continue to do this great work.
And as it said, so may it be. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
That's
Until
awesome.
the day I'm ready to go, I will continue to be that mouthpiece. I'm sure of it.
And you're awesome at it. I've got one last question for you. What piece of advice would you give any person developing as a medium? What one sort of cherry would you give them to say, this is what you need to know?
Well, the first thing for me, if you want to develop as a medium, is first get to know yourself. Get to know how you tick. And by that, just as the planet has seasons, the soul has seasons too. So you have to understand how your energy works throughout the season. And you also have to understand how your energy works during the moon cycles, because we all change with each moon cycles. Before, I would never work on a full moon. Now I don't work on moon dark, okay? But now I'm at that age where I'm now the old crone. I'm no longer a maiden or a mother. I'm now the crone. So it's about developing and understanding how you work through the seasons. So by doing that, you have to keep a diary. You have to keep a diary for 3 years to see how you work over that time. And then the other thing you have to do is you evolve and you change with the seasons. You have to understand how your energy evolves and changes, because it will. When you're doing your mediumship, it will change. You may start off very clairvoyant, then you may become clairaudient, then you may become claircognant, and then that will change. Because after 7 years, you evolve, and the more you evolve, the spirit world make it harder for you. How many of us used to see the spirit world clearly? You see people. When I think at the very beginning, I used to see the spirit world so clearly and hear them so clearly. And as I evolved and became more confident that they were there, the harder the communication seemed to be at times. And now again, because I'm now on my Saturn return year, so which means, God, I've just told everybody how old I am now. So I'm 59 this year.
You don't look it. You look fantastic.
So again, my energy is shifting. It's evolving. It's moving. So again, I'm having to sit and write down how my energy is. I'm having a lot of profound dreams right now as well. So it's about writing down the dreams, the predictions and dreams. And I have a feeling my whole mediumship is going to change onto another avenue. Cool. I may go on to do something helping the police with investigations. I may be doing something else to do with predictions. I just feel the change is coming. So I'm having to understand what's happening in my body, my mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. So I'm having to then sit and record. So we have to sit and evolve and work with ourselves. The other thing is you have to understand about how you communicate. So you have to understand your astrological birth chart. Okay. So you have to understand what you have in Mercury, what planet you have in Mercury. Now I have Gemini in Mercury. Okay. So that makes that very, very, makes it pure, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. I also have my moon in Virgo, which again is about communication. I'm a Taurus with a rising Leo. I have Mars, Aries and Mars, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So that's how you action things. So it's about understanding how you tick as a person and what your strengths are, so that you can become the best version of yourself. Okay? So sense. Once you become the best version of you and you understand how you tick, you then understand, so this is how I work. So is this energy coming here for me? Is that me? Is that psychic? Is that spirit? Well, there's no one else in the room, so that must be the spirit world. And what is that doing to my energy? How is that affecting my biomagnetic field, my aura? How is that changing my perception? Is my body changing? Am I becoming someone else? Is my mannerisms changing? So it's about understanding how you are changing as you're connecting to the spirit world. And then you begin to understand, this is not me. This is someone who is coming in and giving me that mind-to-mind communication. And how does that mind-to-mind communication work for you? Because Trevor, it will work completely different for you as it does for me.
Right.
Okay? Yep. So, because the blending for spirit world may come in and overshadow me more, where you may see faces or eyes changing. The mouth may change. It may droop as I work with spirit world. I may be up one side, down the other. I may begin to limp, or I may feel suddenly huge and tall for me, because it becomes very different. When I worked in Canada last year, I worked, where did I work? Near, what was it called? Vancouver Island, maybe. Oh, yeah. And when I worked there, I felt very easily, I went into a trance state there. And when I looked at the chart, I had Neptune running right through there from my own chart. Now, Neptune's about the depth of the sea and the water. So it was very easily for me, even when I was just standing, giving an address or bringing forward spirit to go into the trance state to allow spirit world to come in deeper into my mind to bring forward that communication.
That makes sense.
So one, understand yourself and how you work. Okay. And two, sit in the power of spirit. Sit in that power regularly for 10 minutes every day, and write down your experiences, write down the changes, get the feeling of your guides and your workers. Is it one guide who is trying to manipulate being 2 or 3 different guides to test how you're sensing and feeling him? Because they will make you work for that. I had a guide who showed himself to me when I was working with my trance healing. He showed me himself as 3 different entities, 3 different people. And it was only after a year of working like that, I thought I had 3 guides. Then I realized they all had one imperfection that they were showing me. And I thought, right, take the thought away, take the image away, let me feel these 3 people. And I no longer wanted the image. And it was the one guide. He was testing me of how I was sensing and feeling. So I was trusting my vision too much and not the essence of the spirit.
Brilliant.
Okay, yeah. So as you sit to develop and sit in that power of spirit, you then begin to understand how you communicate and how you connect to spirit, and that is your best tool to develop.
Amazing advice for all mediums at all levels.
Yeah, and it's still today, because as I said, as my energy now changes and as I evolve now, and I know and I can feel and sense the changes coming, particularly now we're heading into this next 20 years with Aquarius being very dominant in the universe, we will all find that we're evolving and changing. So we have to always sit and analyze it, analyze what's happening. And for me, it's staying grounded with it. Don't blame the spirit world for everything. If you're feeling things, be logical, be sensible, and check it out first. And if it's not, then look to spirit world. But remember, the spirit worlds are not always hanging about giving you parking spaces. That's about setting the intention to find a parking space. Have I set the intention, right, okay guys, I'm heading up to 4, I need a parking space, I've got a heavy shopping load. Then I've set that intention before I go. Spirit world didn't have anything to do with that. That was me manifesting it. There's a difference.
Oh, okay.
It's about manifesting that. And it's about me manifesting what I need and being the manifester of your own destiny, if you like. Yeah?
Yeah, makes sense. Taking ownership.
Taking ownership. Stand up and be counted.
That's awesome. That's incredible advice. I'm going to post your link. So if people are interested in taking courses, mentorship, watching an event when you get back to doing events, they can go to your link and they can see all this stuff about you and what they need, because you're an amazing mentor that anybody could benefit learning from. So
thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate your time today, and I hope you inspire a whole bunch more mediums and people can learn so much from you.
Well, I hope so too, Trevor. And thank you. It was lovely to chat to you. And hopefully I will see you within 12 months in sunny Canada.
I can't wait to see everybody in person again.
All right. So you take care.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.